The morning sun cast harsh shadows across the steel deck of the USNS Mercy Supply as she cut through the choppy waters of the Gulf of Aden on July 15, 2025. At 0730 hours local time, approximately 42 nautical miles northeast of Socotra Island, the supply vessel maintained her steady course of 270 degrees at 12 knots. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Mitchell stood on the bridge wing, her binoculars scanning the horizon where the azure waters met the cloudless sky. The Mercy Supply carried critical supplies for the combined maritime forces operations. Her cargo holds packed with ammunition, fuel, and humanitarian aid destined for Djibouti. Aboard the vessel, a 6-man Navy SEAL team from SEAL Team 6 had been conducting routine security escort duties for the past 72 hours. Chief Petty Officer Marcus Rodriguez checked his watch as he supervised the morning weapons inspection on the forward deck. The SEAL team's equipment included 2 Mark 48 lightweight machine guns, 4 HK-416 assault rifles, and a Barrett M107A1 sniper system. Their small boats, 2 11-meter Naval Special Warfare rigid inflatable boats, hung secured in davits on the port side. Rodriguez felt the familiar weight of his tactical vest as he adjusted the radio headset, maintaining constant communication with the ship's Combat Information Center. At 0815 hours, sonar technician First Class David Park detected multiple fast-moving contacts on the ANSPS-73 radar system. Bridge, CIC. Park's voice crackled through the intercom. I'm showing 4 surface contacts bearing 095 degrees, range 22,000 yards. The contacts were closing at an estimated speed of 35 knots, their radar signatures consistent with small high-speed craft. Captain Elena Vasquez immediately ordered general quarters, and the ship's alarm echoed across the superstructure. Rodriguez felt his pulse quicken as he gathered his team on the main deck, their boots clanging against the non-skid surface. "Gentlemen, we've got company," Rodriguez announced, his voice steady despite the adrenaline surge. Petty Officer Second Class Jake Thompson shouldered his Barrett rifle, finding a position with clear sightlines over the starboard rail. The approaching vessels appeared as distant white wakes against the blue expanse, growing larger with each passing minute. Through the ship's powerful optics, the crew could identify the attackers as modified fishing dhows, each approximately 15 meters in length. Intelligence reports had warned of increased pirate activity in this sector. With several recent attacks on commercial shipping, the lead dhow flew no flag and showed signs of modification, including reinforced gun mounts and additional fuel tanks. Captain Vasquez ordered an immediate course change to 240 degrees, hoping to present a more difficult target profile. The Mercy Supply's engines strained as the captain called for flank speed, pushing the vessel to her maximum 17 knots. Rodriguez coordinated with the ship's weapons officer, preparing the vessel's defensive systems for potential engagement. The supply ship mounted 2 25mm Bushmaster chain guns and 450 caliber machine gun positions. At 0832 hours, the lead pirate vessel closed to within 8,000 yards and began signaling with a spotlight. The flashing pattern demanded the Mercy Supply to stop engines and prepare for boarding, a clear act of maritime piracy. Captain Vasquez refused the demand and transmitted an emergency distress signal on international maritime frequencies. The nearest naval assets included a French frigate, 90 nautical miles southwest, and a Japanese destroyer, 120 miles northeast. Rodriguez positioned his snipers at elevated positions, with Thompson taking the bridge wing and Petty Officer First Class Ryan Chen covering the stern approach. The tension on deck was palpable as crew members donned helmets and flak vests, their faces grim with determination. At 0845 hours, the lead dhow fired a warning shot from what appeared to be a Soviet-era DSHK heavy machine gun. The 12.7mm rounds splashed into the water 50 meters off the Mercy Supply's starboard bow. "All stations, this is the bridge," Captain Vasquez announced over the general announcing system. "We are under attack by hostile forces." Rodriguez felt the familiar pre-combat calm settle over his team as they prepared for engagement. The second dhow maneuvered to port, attempting to bracket the supply vessel between 2 angles of attack. Thompson's voice came through the tactical radio net. "Sniper 1, I have positive identification of armed personnel on the lead boat." Through his scope, Thompson could see at least 6 figures manning various weapons positions on the dhows deck. The pirates carried a mix of assault rifles, including AK-47s, and what appeared to be PKM machine guns. At 0851 hours, the lead dhow opened sustained fire with automatic weapons at a range of 4,000 yards. Bullets impacted the Mercy Supply's superstructure, sending sparks flying from metal bulkheads and shattering bridge windows. Rodriguez gave the order to return fire, and Thompson's Barrett rifle cracked with its distinctive report. The .50 caliber round struck the lead dhows bow, sending splinters of wood flying across the vessel's deck. Chen engaged targets on the second dhow with his HK-416, his controlled bursts accurate despite the rolling deck. The ship's portside Bushmaster roared to life, sending 25mm high-explosive rounds toward the attacking vessels. Explosions erupted around the lead dhow as the proximity-fused rounds detonated near their target. The pirates responded with increased fire intensity, their tracers creating deadly arcs across the water. A burst of machine gun fire shattered the windows of the ship's navigation bridge, forcing the helmsman to take cover. Captain Vasquez maintained her position, coordinating the defense while glass fragments littered the deck around her. The third pirate vessel approached from the stern quarter, its crew preparing grappling hooks for a boarding attempt. Rodriguez repositioned his team to counter the new threat, dividing his fire between multiple targets. Petty Officer 3rd Class Michael Torres engaged the stern attacker with one of the Mark 48 machine guns. The 240-round belts fed smoothly through the weapon as Torres laid down suppressive fire. At 0905 hours, the lead dhow attempted to close alongside the supply vessel's starboard side. Thompson adjusted his scope and fired 3 rapid shots, his bullets striking the dhow's engine compartment. Black smoke began pouring from the pirate vessel as its diesel engine suffered critical damage. The damaged dhow fell behind, but the remaining 3 vessels continued their coordinated attack. The second dhow launched what appeared to be an improvised explosive device using a rocket-propelled grenade launcher. The RPG round missed the Mercy Supply's hull by mere meters, exploding in the water and sending up a column of spray. Chen's rifle jammed during a magazine change, and he quickly performed immediate action procedures under fire. The young SEAL's hands moved with practiced precision, despite the bullets impacting around his position. Captain Vasquez ordered evasive maneuvers, causing the supply vessel to heel dramatically as she changed course. The sudden turn threw several crew members off balance, but the tactical situation prevented reducing speed. At 0912 hours, the portside Bushmaster scored a direct hit on the second dhow's midship section. The high-explosive round detonated against the vessel's fuel tanks, creating a massive fireball that lit up the morning sky. Burning debris rained down into the water as the dhow's crew abandoned their destroyed vessel. Rodriguez allowed himself a moment of satisfaction before refocusing on the remaining threats. The third dhow had closed to within 1,000 yards and was preparing to launch a boarding party. Pirates armed with assault rifles and grenades lined the vessel's rail, shouting commands in Somali. Thompson shifted his aim to the boarding party leader, a tall figure directing the assault with animated gestures. The Barrett's report echoed across the water as the .50 caliber round found its mark. The pirate leader spun and collapsed, causing confusion among his subordinates. Chen had cleared his weapon malfunction and resumed firing controlled bursts at the approaching vessel. The ship's starboard .50 caliber position opened fire, adding to the defensive barrage. Brass casings littered the deck as the machine gunner maintained steady pressure on his triggers. At 0918 hours, the fourth dhow attempted a ramming attack against the Mercy Supply's port quarter. Captain Vasquez spotted the threat and ordered hard right rudder, narrowly avoiding the collision. The pirate vessel scraped along the supply ship's hull, its crew attempting to board via grappling hooks. Rodriguez led his team in repelling the boarding attempt, engaging targets at point-blank range. The sound of automatic weapons fire was deafening as both sides exchanged fire across the narrow gap. Torres dropped a pirate attempting to climb over the rail, his machine gun stitching holes in the dhow's wooden hull. The close-quarters battle lasted for nearly 3 minutes before the damaged dhow drifted away. Black smoke poured from multiple holes in the pirate vessel's superstructure. At 09:25 hours, the remaining 2 dhows attempted to disengage from the fight. Thompson tracked the fleeing vessels through his scope, waiting for clearance to engage. Rodriguez coordinated with the bridge to determine if pursuit was tactically feasible. The Mercy Supply had sustained damage to her bridge windows, radio antennas, and several hull penetrations above the waterline. Captain Vasquez conducted a damage assessment while maintaining course toward Djibouti. The ship's medical officer, Lieutenant Commander Patricia Walsh, treated minor injuries sustained during the engagement. Several crew members had suffered cuts from glass fragments and minor burns from hot brass casings. Rodriguez's team secured their weapons and began collecting evidence of the pirate attack. Spent cartridge cases, bullet fragments, and damaged equipment would provide valuable intelligence. The CIC compiled radar tracks and communication intercepts for post-action analysis. At 09:42 hours, a P-8 Poseidon Maritime Patrol aircraft arrived on station from Djibouti. The aircraft's crew conducted aerial reconnaissance of the engagement area, photographing debris and oil slicks. Radio communications confirmed that 1 pirate vessel had been destroyed and 2 others severely damaged. The 4th dhow had escaped towards Somali territorial waters, trailing smoke from engine damage. Captain Vasquez transmitted a detailed after-action report to Naval Forces Central Command. The engagement had lasted approximately 47 minutes from first contact to final disengagement. Rodriguez gathered his team for a brief debriefing, while medical personnel examined each SEAL for injuries. The adrenaline was beginning to wear off, replaced by the familiar post-combat fatigue. Thompson reported that he had fired 12 rounds from his Barrett rifle, with 11 confirmed hits. Chen had expended 6 magazines from his HK-416, engaging multiple targets throughout the engagement. Torres had fired nearly 400 rounds from his machine gun position. The ship's weapons systems had performed flawlessly, despite the challenging conditions. At 10:15 hours, the French frigate Forbin arrived on scene to provide escort for the remainder of the transit. The destroyer's helicopter conducted aerial patrols, while the task group proceeded toward Djibouti. Captain Vasquez maintained radio contact with coalition forces, coordinating the anti-piracy response. Intelligence analysts would study the attack patterns to improve future defensive measures. The pirates had demonstrated improved tactics, including coordinated attacks and heavier weapons than previously encountered. Rodriguez noted the enemy's use of military-grade equipment, suggesting possible state sponsorship. The engagement highlighted the ongoing security challenges in the Gulf of Aden shipping lanes. At 11:30 hours, the Mercy Supply entered Djiboutian territorial waters under escort. The crew began preliminary repairs to battle damage while maintaining watch for additional threats. Captain Vasquez prepared briefing materials for the scheduled intelligence debrief in port. The SEAL team cleaned and inspected their weapons, preparing detailed engagement reports. Thompson's Barrett rifle had performed perfectly despite the challenging shipboard environment. Chen made notes about his weapon malfunction for inclusion in the after-action report. Torres documented ammunition expenditure and target engagement procedures. The ship's damage control teams assessed structural integrity and prioritized repair work. Most of the damage was superficial, but several systems required immediate attention. Communication equipment had been damaged by small arms fire, limiting long-range capabilities. The crew's morale remained high, despite the intensity of the engagement. At 12:45 hours, the Mercy Supply tied up at the Coalition Logistics Pier in Djibouti. Intelligence officers boarded immediately to conduct preliminary interviews with key personnel. The pirate attack represented a significant escalation in the region's maritime security threat. Previous attacks had primarily targeted unarmed merchant vessels using small arms and intimidation. This engagement featured coordinated tactics, heavy weapons, and sustained combat against military forces. Rodriguez briefed his chain of command on the pirates' improved capabilities and aggressive tactics. The enemy had demonstrated knowledge of military procedures and weapons employment. Their coordination suggested professional training beyond typical criminal organizations. The attack timing coincided with a known supply run, indicating possible intelligence gathering. Regional naval commanders would need to reassess force protection measures for future operations. The engagement data would be analyzed to improve defensive tactics and equipment. Training scenarios would be modified to reflect the increased threat level. Intelligence agencies would investigate the source of the pirates' advanced weapons and training. The incident would likely influence maritime security policy throughout the region. Commercial shipping companies would demand increased naval escort protection. Insurance rates for Gulf of Aden transits would certainly increase following this engagement. The strategic implications extended beyond the immediate tactical situation. Somali piracy had evolved from opportunistic crime to organized maritime warfare. The international community would need to develop new strategies to counter this threat. Naval forces would require additional resources and modified rules of engagement. The Mercy Supply incident marked a potential turning point in the long-running piracy conflict. Future supply missions would require additional security measures and escort vessels. The crew of the Mercy Supply had demonstrated exceptional courage under direct fire. Their actions had prevented a successful pirate boarding and protected critical military supplies. The engagement would be studied at naval warfare schools as an example of shipboard defense. Rodriguez and his SEAL team had performed their duties with distinction under combat conditions. Their accurate fire had been instrumental in repelling the coordinated pirate attack. The incident report would become part of the historical record of naval special operations. As evening fell over Djibouti harbor, the crew reflected on the day's events. The Gulf of Aden remained a dangerous waterway where peaceful supply missions could instantly become combat operations. The pirates had demonstrated that maritime security in the region faced new and evolving challenges. The international naval coalition would need to adapt its tactics to meet this increased threat level. The battle for control of the vital shipping lanes was far from over. The Mercy Supply incident would be remembered as the day when Somali piracy crossed a significant threshold. No longer content with hit-and-run tactics against merchant vessels, the pirates had chosen to engage military forces directly. The crew prepared for an uncertain future in waters where the rules of engagement had fundamentally changed. The Gulf of Aden remained contested territory, where supply ships required constant vigilance and superior firepower to complete their missions safely.